It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Welcome to Slate Night, the podcast made by film fans for film fans. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt. Here's my best bud, Corey Knudsen. Oh. I hate you so much. We're going to talk about movies, and Michael was a big release from this past week, which I thankfully didn't see. Corey did, and now we're going to have to fucking hear about it for at least 15 minutes. As someone who's just revving up. It's like 1 a.m. while this is all happening. If you're new to our show, you're not. It's the same three people. And if you're not subscribed, you already are. I see them. I really respect and appreciate you. If you happen to just stumble upon us, then yeah, throw a subscribe, follow us. We'd appreciate it because we need some traction. We need just something. Leave a comment. Hate comments. Even if it's a person that knows us, just fucking rinse us for some of our shitty takes, please. Yeah. Or the fact that we both can't talk. But also, take everything we say with somewhat of a grain of salt because we are mostly drinking throughout both of these, or through the taping of these shows. So, Corey, what are we drinking today?
Well, I've had 3 whiskey shots. You've had 1 of Glen Fargo American Malt Whiskey. First time we've tried it.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good. I like it.
It's a wedding gift.
Yeah, it was good shit. It had dust on it still.
I put it away in one cabinet after our marriage and after we got home with all of our gifts, and I have not touched it. So.
Mm-hmm. I had a very tough day at work, and I told Mason, I have some beers, but bring over strong liquor if you have it. Yeah. I'd be very appreciative. But we also have some Dos Equis and hams, kind of some bench warmers from the past couple of weeks that have been taken in my fridge, so we gotta drink those all tonight. Yeah, man, no, good. Wild Wolves one tonight. That's tight. We're in the thick of NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, but also NFL draft going on. We probably did the same bit last year. Draft day, fucking fantastic.
Awesome movie.
This movie is so good. The trades that Kevin Costner makes as the Browns GM, just thankless job. But they are insane. If you go back and look, like somebody put out a graphic on ESPN of the trade that he makes. If that happened in real life, he'd get fired instantly. But it's so funny. I think Arian Foster's in that movie.
Chadwick Boseman's in it?
Chadwick Boseman, yeah.
It's a good movie. I remember my mom wanted to see this movie, and I was like, fine, yeah, I'll go see the Kevin Costner movie. We didn't have high expectations, but it's such just a good sports movie that isn't so focused on oh, we have the big game coming up. Are you gonna put your neck on the line and sacrifice it for your team and win? No, it's just this guy trying to make the Cleveland Browns, good, and that's just a Herculean task. So it's a great movie. It's worth a watch, and it's kind of slept on. No one really talks about it. It's 100%. One of those more recent good sports films.
For sure. That's the same reason I like Moneyball so much, that it's not really about the sport. It is, but it's
the business side of it.
The people behind it, which I love. So, fun time of year for sports, but moving into movies, we did have Michael come out this week. I saw this movie. I like Michael Jackson. Do you like Michael Jackson?
Yeah. There was especially in middle school, I don't know why, there's just a fucking chunk of time where I only listen to Michael Jackson. Nice. So I don't listen to him frequently. What's your favorite Michael Jackson song?
Ooh, it's tough. I mean, it's kind of probably one of the cliche ones of Beat It and Billie Jean I listen to the most, which they're the popular ones. But I mean, Thriller's tight too. Do you have a favorite?
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal's nice.
I love Smooth Criminal.
That's a good one.
Music video for that's pretty tight too. So
Jackson 5 put out some nice stuff too. Which this movie, Michael, directed by Antoine Fuqua. It starts out, and it's essentially kind of the first half of Michael Jackson's story, I guess, if you want to classify it as that. There's a lot of legal issues behind what they can and can't say about the later parts of Michael Jackson's life, because they initially planned on it, and
they filmed
it, and they had a lot of story beats related to allegations later in his life. Movie opened that way, I believe, and then some legal stuff came up and they couldn't do it, so they're
there's a slight oversight. We said you could. You actually can't take it out.
Yep, can do it. So this movie is really just the highlights of Michael Jackson, essentially. It starts out with the family, the Jackson 5 in the beginning. Coleman Domingo plays the dad, Joseph Jackson. Nia Long plays the mom. They both give good performances, if not a little stereotypical and kind of one note in the mean dad that's, tough but fair, and the mom that's maybe we don't need to be that hard on him. We see the Jackson 5, which, hearing, there's a mixture of both the actors' voices in this movie and the actual recordings of Michael Jackson. But even so, in the Jackson 5, Michael Jackson's voice is fucking insane. You listen back to, ABC or whatever the song's called, or, I Want You Back.
I Want You Back.
It's fucking unbelievable, and that it just sets the tone for how talented this kid is. And then it gets into his later life where he's played by Jafar Jackson, who is Michael Jackson's nephew. And to start off with my positives for the movie, Jafar Jackson is great in this movie. This is his first acting role ever. It's a very tough thing to come in to play your uncle, and to have the legacy and the expectations of not only all of the fans of Michael Jackson, which there are many, and your family as well, to come in and be like, all right, I have to pay respect to this, but I have to act like him, I have to dance like him, I have to sing like him. It's a very multifaceted performance, and I thought he fucking killed it in this movie. I really liked him a lot, and there was a certain point in the movie where I was just like, that's Michael. Like, I'm not looking at, oh, it's his nephew trying to play Michael Jackson. I was just like, fuck, it's Michael Jackson. And the highs of this movie are really it's the point of this movie, I guess, where it is kind of a tribute to Michael Jackson and showing how talented and how good he is and some adversity he overcame. And the concert scenes and the recording scenes in the studio and, you know, all the other, some of the weird stuff where he's like buying monkeys and giraffes
Bubbles,
and they have Bubbles the monkey, yeah, all that shit in there. It's captured really well here, and it's directed well by Antoine Fuqua. And I think that it's effective in telling its story. It is very much the music biopic of the rise, fall, rise. Well, however you want to show that in the movie. The formula of biopics: Bohemian Rhapsody, Complete Unknown, Springsteen. We've had a lot of them in recent years, but there is a level of enjoyment to it. And I was telling Mason before we started recording, I kind of went in as a fan of Michael Jackson. I was like, if you're not telling the like deep, kind of darker part of this character, of this person,
yeah, what's the point?
What's the point of doing this? And I kind of went in a little bit cynical. And then as I was watching the movie, and the people around me, just like families and friends that were there watching it, were like getting into it. Like when the Thriller music video scene comes on, which is a really cool scene, and like people are just like dancing in their seats a little bit, they're shaking their feet, they're raising up their hands, they're responding in like a respectful way within a theater. I was kind of like, fuck, it's kind of fun. It's a fun theater experience where I'm like, I'm glad I saw it in theaters, because I just think that is such a special point.
Yeah.
Where we've had, you know, documentaries and other movies about Michael Jackson, but not really to this level with this cast and with this talent attached to it. So I think it works in all those moments. Where this movie faltered for me was in its depth, which I kind of mentioned. It is kind of a standard biopic, but it is kind of a speed run through the hits of Michael Jackson as a kid with the Jackson 5. You see him and with the Thriller album, and then getting his music videos on MTV and all that stuff. And it's fun seeing all that stuff, but it doesn't feel like we sit with any moments. We don't linger with any characters to just like get how they're feeling. There's an attempt to show how, you know, fame can be very lonely with Michael, which is a big thing with, you know, some of these music biopics of what fame can do to a person, but we just don't sit with it enough, and it kind of goes through that for 2 acts in the movie, and then the last act of the movie is really just like a few concert scenes back to back, because I think a lot of that was getting into more of the allegations in the later part of his life. So it's a very interesting movie, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I think that it looks really good, it sounds really good, the performances were solid. Miles Teller was fun as his manager kind of later in his life too. And really just, I think the best thing they did in this movie was illustrate how big Michael Jackson was. Just hearing from, at least like my parents and like my aunts and uncles, of being like, yeah, we like sat down and watched Michael Jackson's music videos when they came out. And like everybody in the neighborhood did that just because it's like, well, it's a new Michael Jackson video, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
And how fucking, this dude is one of the most famous people of all time. And just across not only the United States, but across the whole world, he just had a grip on everything in the 70s, 80s especially. And just I think they illustrate that well in the movie of how many people are reacting to him. His concert scenes, there's people like passing out, and there's people just like, there's dudes crying like during the concert scenes, which is really funny. So it kind of just brought me into an era where it's like, man, we haven't really, at least in our lifetimes, haven't had an artist like that. There's big artists, there's Taylor Swifts, there's all kinds of big bands and groups that are hot for a bit and big, but to this level where it's like, if you say Michael, you're either talking about Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson, which
Yeah,
is crazy. That
that's
one of the
true.
most common names of all time. If you see Michael, you know which one you're talking about in the context of
Michael
music
Neff.
or sports.
Yeah,
It's
Michael Neff. Throw him in there.
Shout out Michael Neff.
Yeah, he's definitely not on the list. But if he is, thank you. I didn't watch this week. This is going to be a relatively big movie, especially for a biopic. It's probably going to break records. It is about Michael Jackson, and yeah, he's a revolutionary artist. What he did for just black artists in the industry, getting his music videos onto MTV alone, that's a Herculean task.
Yeah.
I like Michael Jackson's music. Hearing that, like, similar to Bohemian Rhapsody, a lot of relatives, people close to Michael or Michael's estate is involved in the making of the film. It's like, all right, well, I feel like you guys are going to give it a little bit more of a sanitized approach. We're going to get surface level stuff, which is what sounds like is the biggest complaint that I'm seeing reoccurring throughout a lot of like critics I follow is like, yeah, this is the surface level formulaic greatest hits of Michael Jackson. Do we dive into much? Not really. We present some and then we just kind of, oh, here's another concert or here's another taping of something. So I like Michael Jackson music. I'm interested enough to see it at some point. I think you may have sold me a little bit more on seeing it in theaters as opposed to waiting for it on streaming just because, I don't know, musical biopics, I've talked about it. It's not the genre for me. It feels a lot like the same type of story of the untapped talent is discovered, rides the highs, has some hardships that he falls on. Boom! Now we're back on top after they're able to solve them. And it's just like it feels like that is the same kind of trajectory for a lot of these films. Antoine Fuqua directing this, that gives me some interest. I've heard nothing but great things along with the cast. I've heard the same thing that you mentioned about the parents, where like Coleman Domingo and Nia Long, they're great, but Nia Long and they just kind of have nothing really to do that's new. But I'm excited to see it more so than I originally was thinking I would be, and I didn't see it this week just because I was like, in my head, I'm like, a movie about Michael Jackson, a biopic about him, I'm like, that movie's going to be like 2.5 hours. Seeing that it's only like 2 hours and 7 minutes or something like that, I'm like, oh, that's actually like not that bad. So I will likely check it out, if not this upcoming week, probably just as it lingers throughout theaters, because I suspect that it's going to be in theaters for a long time. But I don't know. I'm interested. I've heard a lot of speculation, and I haven't looked into it enough of there being potentially a part 2 or that they'd have to make a part 2 if this movie makes enough money, which I think it will make more than enough money because it's Michael Jackson, and the people that are seeing it that aren't the critics are largely liking it because they're probably going in with the mindset of like, just give me the greatest hits. Let me see my Michael again, because we grew up in the 2000s, and I feel like the 2 celebrity deaths I remember the most are Michael Jackson's and Heath Ledger's. It was like those 2 that are so just ingrained as a child. Like, the world stopped when Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
There are celebrities that pass, like, we have a lot of big, classic, legendary celebrities that keep passing away. And it's like, we get that tomorrow. With Michael Jackson, it was like, I remember news coverage of that for so long. I remember where I was when Michael Jackson died. Like, and I was a kid. Like, it's just something that just hit the world, and it was crazy. So I respect the artist. I'm excited to see it. I think maybe going in a week late, being a little bit more susceptible and hearing more of kind of the critiques of it, it kind of confirms a lot of the issues I was kind of worried about. Like, all right, you're just going to sanitize it then? Fine, but you know what? All right, maybe I just need to take the cynic out of me, go enjoy just a fun time at the theaters with a good community, and see Michael Jackson perform well from the sounds of it.
I think this movie is going to make a fuck ton of money. I think this is going to be one of the highest grossing movies of the year.
Yeah, I think it'll be up there. I think we'll talk about like our summer predictions for box office a little bit later in this episode. And we started it marking it at May 1st. I'm like, if we marked it to this week, this would be in that top 10.
100%. It's the crowd I was with loved it. It just seems that people are loving it. Not to spoil it, I guess, not to do a Michael will return in Avengers Doomsday type of thing, but
is there something?
There's right at the end of the movie they say his story continues, and then they go into the end credits. So, like you mentioned, there's been a lot of talk about a follow-up to this movie, and I'll be curious to see, because I think this one worked well enough for me. And I assume that a lot of the same creative team would be coming over from this, which a lot of his siblings and his son are producers on this movie and obviously signed off on it. What does it's very easy, or it's easier, I guess, to do this first movie where it's like the highlights of Michael Jackson, like the big songs and stuff.
Easier to avoid some of the hints of things, whereas that second part of that story,
how do you sanitize that? How do you avoid that? It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, because there's even parts in this movie too where like you understand Michael, and like I wish they would have dove more into it, where he's just very childlike and he just likes animals and he likes cartoons, and like he goes to the hospital just with like kids that are sick, and he's just talking with him. He's like, yeah, like what cartoons do you like watching? He's like, oh, like you have this stuffed animal, like that's so cool, like I love Mickey Mouse too. And like he's just a kid at heart, and he doesn't really relate to a lot of other people his age. So again, it kind of started to dive into that stuff, but it didn't fully, move into it. And I'd just be curious to see what a second movie looks like, what a second movie would be titled, Michael Part 2 Michael Again. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. For me, it worked, I feel like, a little bit more than a lot of critics and kind of reviewers I've been watching, where I just, like I said, at a certain point, I kind of just let go of like my cynicism and like my critic mindset that I sometimes have in a movie. And I was just like, you know what? It's great to just hear this fucking thriller booming on this in the theater right now. I'm like, I'm having a good enough time, but it's not going to be a top 10 movie for me of the year. But I'm very happy I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I do find myself, while I am annoyed with musical biopics, once I'm in to see them or watching them for the first time, once the music kicks in, I'm usually like, all right, you kind of sold me.
Yeah.
And that works with like Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't love that movie, nor do I think that movie got nominated for Best Picture. That's crazy.
It won the most Oscars of that year.
That is still crazy. Was it 6 or?
I think it was
nominated
4.
for 6 and then won 4.
Yeah,
just
3 or 4.
An insane thing for that movie, because like I think there are aspects of that movie pretty awesome.
Live Aid's great.
Yeah. But the movie as a whole, I'm like, it's fine. But once you get into the theater and you start to experience the music, and it just wraps you up in it again. So while I am a cynic and I'm like, I hate the formula, it's like once I get into it, I'm usually fine. There are some exceptions to that, like A Complete Unknown, I think is a great movie. Mm-hmm. Walk the Line, I think is a great movie. Rocket Man is, I think, what I would say is my favorite musical biopic. Do you have a favorite musical biopic off the top?
Probably Walk the Line. I just grew up loving Johnny Cash and that. So yeah, I mean, we've had a few standouts in the last few years, but this one's kind of like Springsteen a bit, and kind of where it's like, you've hit some of the beats, you did it okay, but didn't fully like dive in like I wanted you to.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one more question about musical biopics, and then I have a recommendation for anyone watching or listening. What is, if you could, any band, any musical group, or any singer, lone performer, whoever could have a musical biopic or have that treatment, who are you picking?
I think I would take Fleetwood Mac, because I think the relationship between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham is fucking fascinating. The song Silver Springs is one of my favorite songs of all time, and their dynamic within the band, and then separating and then coming back for performances. There's a lot there that you wouldn't have to do the typical like beginning and end. You could just jump in at a certain point. I love Fleetwood Mac. They're maybe my second or third favorite band of all time, so that's what I would go with.
I'd probably say Sinatra, which is always like kind of a talked about thing. I think even Scorsese's been attached to that, or they've rumored that for so long. I just think like there's so much outside of his musical career of like potential mob ties or influences on stuff. I'm like, that's interesting, so dive into that. Or give me 4 biopics on the Beatles of every individual member.
Do that.
Actually, I'm interested in that in concept, but I'm like, this might piss me off. But my recommendation: there are some really good musical biopics. Arguably one of the best, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
I knew you were going to say that.
Fucking check that movie out. It is one of my favorite comedies. It snuck up on me, and I completely glossed over it. I've always heard great things, and I think I watched it like 2 years ago when we were living together, and that movie is so fucking funny. It is so good, and it completely like dissects all of my issues I have with musical biopics, so check it out.
And the music's great in that movie. And the music's
good, and the songs are funny, and they're good.
Walk Hard. We can't say some of the other things, but
can't. But John C. Reilly's excellent in that movie, and Jenna Fisher is a dime in that. She's great. Also,
the Beatles scene in that movie is
also hilarious. So check that out. That is my biggest recommendation if it comes to anything musical biopic related. In terms of films I did watch this week, I wasn't really planning on seeing a whole lot. I was actually more interested, I think, when it came into like what movie am I going to try and see in theaters this week. It was going to be Mother Mary or Fuse. I missed both of those. I didn't get really any of them, but I did catch one that I had some subtle interest in. I'd seen the trailers a handful of times, and that's Over Your Dead Body, which is coming from director Jorma Taccone. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he's a member of the Lonely Island. He's made great things like Dick in a Box and shit like that, so I imagine that he's not easily offended. But he's also a co-director of Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping. He has great kind of directorial comedy chops. And going into this film, which stars Jason Segel, Samara Weaving, Timothy Olyphant, who's giving like his best Walton Goggins impression, Keith Jardine, and Juliette Lewis. I was going into this thinking this was going to be more like a goofy, over-the-top comedy, kind of in the same realm of like his MacGruber movie from like the early 2000s, 2005 or 6. It's not. It's funny at times, and it had me like chuckling pretty hard and laughing somewhat consistently throughout, but it also gets pretty dark. This is a film about this kind of married couple that's had enough tiffs, enough falling outs over like their 7 years or whatever odd years of their marriage. And they're like, hey, we're going to go have a weekend away at our cabin, at our family cabin. We're having hard times. We just want to reconnect. And they've both devised plans of how they're going to kill their significant other. And then they find out that they're both trying to kill each other, and they kind of catch on to each other. They have like almost an interrogation of each other's scene where they're like, how are you going to do it? How was I going to do it? Why did you do it that way? I was going to be nice to you and drug you, and you weren't going to be awake during it. You were just going to shoot me in the fucking head. Like, fun moments like that, and you get good relationship conversation of just like microaggressions that build up and piss you off, and it's just like, oh, yeah, that's some of this is somewhat relatable. Some of it, I hope to never see the light of any of this, but this is a movie that kind of is unpredictable and that just shit just keeps coming out of nowhere and happening, and I found that really refreshing. Yes, it is funny, but like I said, it gets dark, weirdly enough. I was not expecting a scene similar to, is it John? No, it's not John Boyd. Is it John Boyd in Deliverance? No.
Ned Beatty?
Ned Beatty. It's not John Boyd. Ned Beatty. I was not expecting a scene in this film to be reminiscent of that. I was like, whoa. Also with Jason Segel, of all people, who I know most as Marshall Erickson from How I Met Your Mother. But obviously I know he's in Shrinking and stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of that stuff. Or more
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I haven't seen a lot of his dramatic chops. His comedic chops, I'm well aware of. And they're on display here, but sometimes he has to really give something meaningful or scared. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm terrified. The cast is great. There's some good humor. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't think the balance of the really sometimes out of nowhere dark aspects of this movie really work well with the humor. But I had a good enough time watching it. I really like kind of, as a whole, the Lonely Island troupe and their foray into directing and writing for film. I think it's usually pretty good, and I have a good time with it. I think this is a pretty solid movie, and I really enjoyed the dynamic between Jason Segel and Samara Weaving and their chemistry. It works really well. At first, I was like, I don't know if I believe them as a married couple, but by the end, I'm like, I get it. This makes sense. This works. And maybe it's because they are just so friction heavy at the beginning where I'm like, why are you together? And it kind of makes sense as you get more throughout the movie. Like I said, Timothy Olyphant's great. His appearance, he has like that white hair that he has from Alien Earth, and I'm just like, I can't separate him from like that cyborg character still a little bit. But there's a character in this played by an actor named Keith Jardine. Is it Todd, I think? He is just this big muscle hound, but he's a little simple up top. It's kind of that character. He steals every scene he's in. I don't really recognize him from much, so he stole this movie for me. I loved him. But overall, the movie, it's a solid watch. I'd recommend it. It's, granted, know what you're getting in for. There is some surprising gore, usually done tongue-in-cheek and kind of lighthearted, but like there's a couple of times where I actually like looked away. Especially, like, there's a woman's foot gets mangled and she's trying to wrap it and put it in a sock, and I was just like, I'm gonna fucking throw up right now. But other than that, I think it's a really interesting movie. I know it's a remake of, I don't know, maybe a Danish or German film, I don't know. But I really enjoyed this, and I'd be interested to go and see what it is a remake of and see the original material. But I recommend this one for American audiences. It's a fun watch.
This is one I want to watch. I also need to watch Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, also from Lonely Island.
It's pretty good.
Those, I'm just kind of lacking on seeing some of their directorial movies.
Have you seen MacGruber?
I actually haven't.
That movie kind of got panned. It's so funny.
Okay.
I would check that one out too. That one's worth your time.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch some more of their movies. I feel like I would like those vibes a lot. One thing that I wanted to do this year was watch through more movies that I own on Blu-ray and haven't seen. I think a couple months ago I talked about buying this Kino Lorber 4K and Blu-ray for Brick, which is a great release. It's really cool. I got different artwork on the slipcover and on the case, actually. Really cool stuff. It's directed by Rian Johnson. It was his first movie that he directed, and it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt as this kind of teenage loner who is kind of uncovers this high school crime ring as he's investigating the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend. And I've only heard good things about this movie.
Great things.
This is, I mean, I really like Rian Johnson. We'll talk maybe about The Last Jedi in a second, I guess. But I've enjoyed his Knives Out trilogy. Looper is great. So it's just really a lot of work that I really like from him. And I thought this movie was okay.
At best.
I wasn't as high on this movie as a lot of people are. What I will say about it that's really great is visually this movie looks fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is... I think I saw it, and then you posted it on our Instagram too, on our story, of a thing where it was like, movies used to be made by just bringing a camera to a place and just shooting characters there. This is an example of that, where it's just at this school that they filmed at, in a field, like at a football field, like just in houses, and it just looks so good. Mm-hmm. There are so many scenes. There's a scene on a beach with a sunset that is just fantastic with the silhouettes in there. So, like, visually throughout the whole movie, I was like, this looks awesome. I love this. And I think that adds to the great atmosphere of the movie, too, where it is kind of a detective-ish type movie, but it's set in a high school, which is an interesting take on it. You don't see that much. You normally see it with a Knives Out type of thing, or with, like, cops that are investigating a murder, something like that. So it was cool to have that take in high school. But for me, the dialogue is something very interesting in this movie, where you're either kind of with it or you're not, and I was not. Mm-hmm. It's, for me personally, it was kind of keeping me at arm's length, where I was having to decode what they were saying in the movie and try and figure that out, and then it took me out of the story, or kept me from understanding what was happening in the story, because I was like, it's written in such a weird way that's very intentional, but I just couldn't like connect with it, and I also couldn't process it fast enough. Maybe I'm just fucking dumb.
No, but I felt the same way when I watched this. And I also struggled when I saw it to take the characters seriously, because they're all high schoolers, and I'm like, it just felt like the story was stretching thin to where I'm like, why are they going through this conflict? Why are they able to do the things that they're doing? Why is this like... Why are there, like, people that, like, almost mafia heads of high schoolers within this film? But what you said about, like, filming on location, it feels like they filmed at, like, their friends' houses. Like, it just felt like, oh, this house is available, we'll go here and stuff like that. So there are some positives, but I agree with you. I felt those same negatives of, like, the dialogue, it's hard to get in on, and I like you said, kept me at arm's length. And then I struggled to really relate or find any of these characters really believable.
There was things within the plot, too, that were revealed later in the movie that when I was watching it, I didn't know happened. And then I was like, I need to read up the synopsis of this movie to just make sure I understood everything. And there were, like, big things that I missed because of the writing, where I was just like, why? Like, I'm trying to fucking decode why they said that or how they said that. And so maybe on a rewatch, I would actually be interested to rewatch this movie, maybe in a couple years. Just having that kind of in my pocket now and being like, all right, knowing what to expect with this. But as far as the first watch, I wasn't as high on it. I know a lot of people love it and say it's Rian Johnson, one of his best movies. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's an interesting watch. I think some people will really connect with it. Like, you know, a lot of critics that we kind of follow. But for me, it was very okay. It's very mixed for me. But since I watched Brick, I was just looking through Rian Johnson's movies, and I'm like, I haven't seen The Brothers Bloom. That's the only one of his, so I'm like, why don't I just finish out his filmography this week and close that out. This one came out 3 years after Brick in 2008. Kind of worked out weirdly timing-wise, because this movie came out the same year as The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I talked about all of the OG Mummy movies last week. Rachel Weisz was not in Tomb of the Dragon Emperor in 2008. She was in this movie.
Yeah.
So, kind of interesting.
Oh,
yeah. Which, probably a better choice to be in this movie, because I actually like the Brothers Bloom. I prefer this to Brick. This is about Adrian Brody and Mark Ruffalo. They play two brothers who are con men. They're swindling millionaires. They're kind of smuggling and getting artifacts and stuff like that. And Adrian Brody wants to get out. Mark Ruffalo's the older brother, and he's like, oh, we got to do one last job. So they decide to kind of swindle, or try to swindle, Rachel Weisz's character, who's like an heiress to this big fortune, and she has a mansion and everything in the movie. So it's a fun little kind of adventure movie. Robbie Coltrane is in it, who plays Hagrid. He has a really fun role in it. And I preferred this one much more to Brick, where it had still the good writing of Rian Johnson, and kind of something that he's known for, whether you like it or not, which is subverting your expectations of these type of movies. The Last Jedi is a victim, or a success in that, however you want to take that. But he has a lot of fun in kind of playing around with the con men and the sort of like heist movies in a certain way, where you kind of know the formula, where you're like, all right, well, this is going to happen. So it's like, all right, what's the reveal then? I think he does a good job and really nails it in this movie. It's fun to see Adrian Brody and Rachel Weisz's chemistry in the movie. There are some really funny moments between the two of them. Mark Ruffalo and Rinko Kikuchi is in this movie too. She plays Bang Bang. She's a really fun character who doesn't say anything but just explodes shit all the time. It's great.
Good name for her.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And Maximilian Schell has a fun supporting role. I haven't seen Judgment at Nuremberg, but I know you watched that and really liked him in that.
I fucking love that movie.
So he has a fun kind of... He pops up as Diamond Dog, I think is his name in this movie. Kind of a former mentor of them.
How old was he when this movie got made?
He's pretty old. 80s or something, maybe. But, yeah, Brothers Bloom, I enjoyed this movie. There's some fun twists and turns. It's still not one of my favorite Rian Johnson movies, but it was nice to watch the kind of foundation of who he was as a writer and as a director in his first two movies. Sort of in the same way that I feel with Christopher Nolan with Following, where I really like watching that movie, but it's not going to be one of my favorites of his. It's like it sets the foundation. You're like, I see hints of what you are really good at here, but maybe didn't have the budget for, maybe didn't have the production for, but like I see it here executed well in later movies. So I think these are two interesting movies to watch. Very quickly, I wanted to give my Rian Johnson ranking. I'm going to do this off the cuff, so this is probably not going to be accurate, but I'm going to go with, I think Knives Out is my favorite of his movies.
Okay.
And then Looper, Wake Up Dead Man, The Last Jedi, Glass Onion, Brothers Bloom, and Brick. I know that's probably a hot take of Brick being my bottom of his, but yeah. I really like it. I'm not including his Breaking Bad episodes, which are also fucking fantastic.
The Fly.
And Ozymandias, I think.
Yeah.
It's
people hate on The Fly. It is like a little bit of, you could skip it. It feels like a filler episode, but it makes sense. It 100% makes sense.
Fucking awesome.
I've always loved that episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, go for it.
I haven't seen Brothers Bloom. That is the only one of his filmography I have not seen. But I would say my favorite far and away is Looper. That's the first Rian Johnson movie I'd ever seen. Holy shit. And I've always loved that movie. It's one of my top 100 favorite movies. I'd say Looper. It's a toss-up between Wake Up Dead Man and The Last Jedi. So they're tied in a second and third battle, I guess. And then it would go Knives Out, Glass Onion, Brick.
Okay.
I would also put Brick last. Brick, it's the only one that just feels so inaccessible to me from him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, you make movies that feel almost tailor-made for me at times. Like, I will defend Last Jedi till the day I die. I think it's an excellent movie. And if you wanted Luke Skywalker to just come back and save the day again, then I think you are a child. And you should maybe watch some more important media or some more adult media, because if you're like, Luke's gonna save the day and just do exactly what he did in the original trilogy, that's my Luke. okay, fucking whatever.
We, there's a Star Wars movie coming out here in about a month.
That's probably the best opportunity we'll have.
There's Last Jedi, a full breakdown, a full review of that we should do.
Yeah, my college roommate almost had me pull up my hair. Just because he hates Last Jedi. He's like, it's bullshit. And I'm like, I just think that you couldn't think of a better thing to do with Luke aside from what Rian Johnson came up with, and that makes you upset. Anyways, Rian Johnson is great. I love Looper. And I might have to check out Brothers Bloom because I didn't realize how stacked of a cast it has. Yeah. Like it looks insane. I did a kind of a random fucking watch through this week. It's been kind of nice as we've been slowing up before like the big overhaul of summer movie season. But I watched a movie that I've owned on Criterion Collection for at least since before the Oscars. I think I probably mentioned it when I bought it on here. I just have no fucking recollection as to how long I've owned this movie. I bought it because I like enough of John Frankenheimer. Well, I've seen Ronin. I like that film that John Frankenheimer has directed before. This film is looked at as being like somewhat of a hidden gem within the sci-fi world, at least early sci-fi. This was made in 1966, or at least released in that year, starring Rock Hudson, John Randolph, Jeff Corey. This is a really interesting, weird movie. It is about a character, Arthur Hamilton, who's later years in his life, he's still working, he's an executive, but he's kind of just bored with his life, and he randomly gets a note left to him from what he is suspecting to be a long dead past friend from his college years. Only to then find out that this friend is actually still alive, and there is this company that he is now referring Arthur to that can kill you and give you a full new life. And what they do is they take the face of someone else, someone that has recently passed, and they match it based on kind of similar proportions. They match it. They give you their look, and they give you a whole new life. They set you up, and they put you out into the world. And they will use the old face that you left behind, as well as the leftover body that originally had a new face that you're taking. If this is confusing you, I don't have paper and pen. I'm not going to draw it out for you. And they stage your death, or at least your original death. And then you get to live on doing whatever you want in this new life, completely unsuspected. And it's an interesting kind of sci-fi trope, or sci-fi concept of rebirth and the inner turmoil that a character might feel because they still have all those memories from their previous life of like, yeah, my wife and I, we kind of had a stale life, but now that I'm in this different course and I'm doing different things, I still think back fondly on that and I miss her. And they do cool things with this. I really like Rock Hudson. He feels like such classic, like he's a classic cinema icon. So seeing him in this movie, I'm like, awesome. This is a film that was nominated for a Best Cinematography Oscar for black and white film, which I didn't realize that was a thing, that they really divvied that up between black and white and between color films, at least at the time. But this film is shot in such this plays out like a paranoid thriller. There's a lot of close-ups. Everything's framed really, really well. It at times feels like a Akira Kurosawa just based on like camera moves and how they reposition characters within a frame. Some of these, some still images of this could be framed on a wall. Like, they look great. And I'm really impressed for being a movie from the 60s, how well they're able to handle the whole kind of process of changing someone's face over and making it believable. I think the performances are great, and I think the conflict that is felt by this character of being stuck in what feels like a stale life, and that old kind of adage of like grass is always greener on the other side, or appreciating or not being able to appreciate what you have and wanting what others have or what you perceive them to have. And I think it has good messaging. It's a really dour ending that felt very much similar to like Soylent Green. If you don't know Soylent Green, that's another great sci-fi film, I think from the 70s, that you should check out with Charlton Heston. I love that movie. But this really snuck up on me. I've seen people relate this to being like the Citizen Kane of early sci-fi, and I get that comparison. Like, this is really great fundamental sci-fi filmmaking. It plays as a paranoid thriller, and everything it does, it exceeds that. So I'd recommend this. Are you going to watch it? Probably not, but you should, because it's from the 60s. It's influential. It's a great film. It has really good craft behind it in terms of cinematography, in terms of performances, and it's just, for being from the 60s, I was expecting this to not be so to the point straight and serious. Like, I was expecting some seams to show, or at least some humor to be there. You don't get that. This is a very serious and confident movie, and I really loved watching it. I always talk about redoing my top 100 favorite films of my entire life, or my 100 favorite films of all time. And I have a couple of movies that I have like in like a buffer zone that I need to review and see if they make it into my top 100. This is scratching at the door of that buffer zone. It's not up there, but it is fantastic. I loved watching this movie, so I definitely recommend it.
Is there, just hearing you talk about it, I haven't seen this movie, but is there any similarities to The Substance, you would say? It just sounded like thematically and kind of like switching your body of like, you know, not happy with your previous life, wanting to jump into a different one. Is there any similarities?
Kind of. I could see maybe the inspiration of it and that idea of like rebirth and moving on. I could also see, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but in the Clayface trailer that we got, there are specific scenes or shots from that trailer where I'm like, that is from Seconds. And it just worked out really well this week that I watched Seconds and the Clayface trailer dropped. And I was just like, wow, those feel almost like it was stripped 100% from this movie. But I get it, like, from Substance, like, it does feel like a more, like a continuation of that concept and brought more into the modern day and has more modern messaging. But it does have that, like, oh, well, don't you wish you could be young again? Don't you wish you could be hot again? Don't you wish you could live a different life, live a more exciting life, or live the life that you wish you had when you were a college kid of like, oh, I was going to be a tennis star. You worked in sales until you were in your 60s and your daughter was in college and you and your wife had a stale marriage. Like, okay. So, really interesting movie. I'd recommend it. It is very influential. And I think by watching it, you would realize, holy shit, this pops up in a lot of stuff. So, it's a great film. Another movie I watched this week, which is a rewatch, I watched The Fall Guy from 2024, a movie that we saw in theaters with both of our moms and then my brother's now fiance, which was just an interesting, five of us. Really liked watching this movie back then, and I like it even more upon a rewatch. I feel pretty common with a lot of David Leitch films is that they're like maybe 15 minutes too long, or like we'll hit like a crescendo or like a big oomph in the story or in the conflict, and then I'll be like, oh, surely that's the end. Oh, we still have 20 minutes left? Well, what the fuck's to happen now? Like, we have another big climactic battle or action scene? I feel that both in The Fall Guy on the first time I watched it and on a rewatch, but the chemistry of Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, sensational. Winston Duke in this movie, sensational. Aaron Taylor Johnson, just a perfect jackass in this movie. Love him so much. Also forgot Teresa Palmer was in this, and this is the most exposure I've had to Hannah Waddingham, I believe, because I don't watch Ted Lasso, or at least I haven't yet. And I've seen Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning, and she pops up in that briefly, but that's about the extent of it. This is a movie about a stunt man who gets framed for a crime he didn't commit, and he has to try and clear his name while he's making a movie with his old flame who is directing it. And it's so fun, and you can tell that the people making it love what they do, and they love shining a light on the stunt work, because the stunts in this movie are great. I remember like the featurettes, and this is a movie or a lost art to movies is like putting behind the scenes footage or even like spoofs or goofs in the credits. Yeah. This movie has that, and it's just like, hey, this is for the stuntmen, the stunt women. This is for the people that work behind the scenes that don't get all the love that they deserve. And there's even a joke in this movie of like, oh, do you get like Oscars for stunts? And he's like, nope. And then just the movie stops for you to sit there for a second, which I really appreciate. Now, we'll get that in 2029 Oscars, 27.
Okay, next couple of years,
somewhat in the future we'll get a best stunt Oscar. But I really like this movie. It improved on a rewatch, and I watched it with my wife. She really enjoyed it. Ryan Gosling is charismatic as hell, but this is a known thing. If you haven't seen Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, it's one of my favorite modern, like, recent comedies. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a great rewatch for this week.
It's such a fun memory of seeing this with our moms and with your brother's fiance now. Yeah,
our mom's salivating at Ryan Gosling, and my brother's fiance being like, God, Jason Momoa is the hottest man in the world. And then he pops up at the very end for like a cameo, and she was sitting there, oh my God. I was like, yes.
We still need to find our movie to take our moms to this year. Last year was F1.
F1, yeah.
Year before was Fall Guys, so... it was going to be Project Hail Mary, but just scheduling it didn't really work out, so...
Do you think Disclosure Day?
Maybe we'll find something still. But one thing about Fall Guy that I love is Ryan Gosling's character's name, Colt Seavers. What a cool fucking name. That is so
name.
sweet.
Which it comes from the TV show it's based on, but
yeah,
still,
yeah.
badass name.
So cool. And I'm very excited for David Leitch's movie this year, How to Rob a Bank. Pretty good cast in that. And they kind of teased at CinemaCon a little bit. So very excited about that. But moving into TV stuff from this week. Spoiler alert for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 6. We're going to talk about all the things. Last week was a big episode. Not as much to talk about this week, but the big thing, again, spoiler alert, Jessica Jones. She comes back. We finally get her back in this show. I want to touch on that first, just because we see a little scene of her at her house with her daughter, who may or may not be Luke Cage's daughter. Well, probably, but we'll see in future episodes or future seasons. Just hearing the Jessica Jones theme from the show, that doo-doo-doo, I was like, oh, that was such a good opening credits for that show. I love all 3 seasons of Jessica Jones. I think it's...
There's 3?
Yeah.
I thought there was only 2.
You say this every time. Yeah.
Yep. I think I probably only watched 2 of them then.
The first season is like up there for my favorite Netflix Marvel stuff when they did this run.
Kilgrave
is
villains.
So fucking good. I think seasons 2 and 3 are really, really solid too. And I just love Kristen Ritter in this role. Just her in the leather jacket, the ripped pants, just kicking ass, being the PI. Love it. So, very fun to have her back in that scene. We get a fun little action scene with her, too. Her and Matt kind of reconnecting. Also, Defenders is great, which I know you haven't seen.
Yep.
I think that is, like, massively overhated and underrated, both of those. I think it's actually really good. Sigourney Weaver's a good villain in that. But we do have kind of the opening of this episode of, Vanessa died in the end of episode 5. And we see Fisk in the hospital. He's mourning her, obviously. And then the doctor comes in, and he won't shut the fuck up about, like, life and death and the meaning. He's just like, she is in a better place. And you can just feel Fisk being like, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. And then the doctor puts his hand on him. And then I'm like, oh, buddy, you need to back the fuck up now.
You need to run.
So then Fisk gets up and just bear hugs him and just crushes him. And he just drops him on the floor. Doctor's dead. I don't know how that works with the rest of the medical staff. That's like, our main guy is kind of dead now.
The mayor fucking murked him?
Yeah, that's interesting. How do we deal with that? Anyways. But, I mean, a good, opening to the episode. We were 1 week... late on it, but we have a funeral scene for Vanessa here. Yeah. And I think that, again, the visuals of the scene are really great, with Fisk being the only one wearing a white tux amidst the sea of black tuxedos and black dresses, and then a white coffin. He goes up, puts a red rose on there. Again, not to harp on the rabbit in a snowstorm painting. Yeah. We'll talk about that again in a second, but that's such a common theme throughout the show, and I think that funeral scene was handled really well, and I really enjoyed that. The other kind of main points of this episode that I really liked, Daredevil and Karen, or I guess Matt and Karen, their continued discussions about the right and wrong things to do and what vengeance is and what you should do just is maybe my favorite part of this season so far, seeing Karen develop a bit more.
Yeah.
And what I love is Daredevil's suit throughout the last couple episodes has gone from being this black, seemingly like spray painted black of his old suits, and it's chipping away back to his red. I just love that visual of showing him going back to the Netflix era Daredevil and his mindset, in that time. But their conversations, where he's saying like, vengeance isn't justice. Like, we can't just be killing people. And she's like, these are bad people that are going to go on and do bad things. We can't keep saving fucking Bullseye and all these people. And there's a line I really like where he's like, You're not acting like yourself, like you're not Karen. And he's like, what happened? And she's like, I grew up. Mm-hmm. It's like, I realize that we can't save it through lawyer stuff all the time. Like, we just have to take action and sometimes kill people. So that stuff is really great. We also have just a couple other notes that I made of some other plot lines in this episode. Heather chokes Buck. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember watching this with my wife and thinking, I was like, this is a little hot, but also I'm like, this is a weird way to do this.
She's getting over her Muse, trauma from the first season.
Of this season is like maybe my least favorite little plot thread, which it's not like the thing that they harp the most amount of time. It makes sense, but I'm just like, we can move off. I don't love the Heather character the most, but she's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that the first season of Born Again really did Muse dirty. I'm like, that's how he goes out quickly. And like for him to have such a lasting impact, I'm like, I feel like you didn't establish that as well as you could have. But that scene came on and I was like, they're going to fuck. They got it.
Yeah,
something's going to happen. Like,
you know what? I'm down for it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Another maybe couple or not, I don't know. BB and Daniel. They have a little subplot here where he invites her over for his birthday to his mom's place, and he's trying to suss out whether she is the mole, she's the rat leaking information. He eventually confronts her about it, but before that, it was just kind of a nice little, like, I don't know, like, you know, a couple going to meet the parents or whatever, and it was really sweet. I've kind of grown on BB as a character a little bit more this season. I think that they've done a lot more to help her out, and I like both their performances in that scene, but really the episode ends with Fisk and Daredevil. They have their fight in the basement of wherever the fuck that is, with the rabbit in the snowstorm painting there. I think a really good choreographed fight. I really enjoyed it. Not like one of the standout one shots, but like a good fight, I thought. And again, we get more blood on that painting, you know.
A little bit back to the well, but
I'm like, this is maybe the last time we should do this. It's torn now, like down the middle. So
this painting's dead.
Yeah,
it's got to die with Vanessa.
This episode, I'm like, this funeral episode, I'm like, I'm fine with it here still. This is okay, but still good stuff. I guess my favorite part of this is that there's kind of a crowd as somebody is just fucking revving. Shut the fuck up!
It's 2 a.m.
You guys hear this? Like, they gotta be blocks away now, man. What the fuck is that? If you couldn't hear that, that was just us sitting here, but like, whatever. Anyway, the end of this episode, while Fisk and Daredevil are fighting, there's a crowd, resisting the Fisk kind of government, and they're outside the capital or whatever of New York, and very reminiscent of Andor, season 2. In the Gorman Massacre, which is an incredible story arc within that season. But I believe Powell is the name of the anti-vigilante task force, kind of that main cop guy. Yeah. And he kind of finds out that one of the guys was helping out Daredevil and Karen, and he shoots him. And then he's like, hey, one of the protesters shot this guy. That means we can open fire on him. Much like Andor, when they have a sniper take somebody out in the crowd, be like, oh, now we can attack them. And I think that's just a very powerful thing to incite this riot by killing one of their own, essentially. So both of those things, the Fisk and Daredevil fight and then that going on, we have Powell kind of find Karen at the end of the episode. I think that's how the episode ends, is with him being like, hey, found you, Karen, or whatever. Yeah. So I thought a really strong episode. I enjoyed a lot of things about it. I'm happy we got Jessica Jones back, and I'm excited to see where she goes next. I hope she pops up again in this season, because it felt like a weird one-off thing, if that's the only thing. I feel like she'll come back, but a lot of other strong elements around it, too.
The appearance, like, I think that this is also a strong episode. It's kind of hard coming off of episodes 4 and 5, which escalated so much, and 5 is one of the best. And now 6, this is more of, like, I feel like a centering point for these last couple of episodes. There was a handful of last episodes of reintroducing a new conflict. Now that we have Vanessa out of here, what's Fisk going to do? What's that going to be like? I do think that the appearance of Jessica Jones is just kind of handled in such like a matter of fact, and like, oh, and now she's here. And it's like, where have you been? Like this, like, granted, the anti-vigilante task force is moving and trying to round up vigilantes, and now they've stumbled upon her. I'm like, okay, but now they have it just feels a little kind of lackadaisical in the way that, and now here's Jessica Jones. I hope that they bring her back, because I love that character. I like the 2 seasons of the show that I know that I've watched. And I feel like they have to bring her back, otherwise it just feels so, I don't know, lazy a little bit. But I love her in that role so much. She's fantastic. I do like the fight, again, similar to you. You got to stop doing this blood on that painting. We've done it a couple of times, but it works still.
Yeah.
You got to move off of it now, which I think that they hopefully will. I love the dynamic between Michael Gandolfini and BB, which I said actor and character name. I never remember both of either. So, but I liked their chemistry, and I found their subplot this episode to be my favorite subplot of just like him being like, yes, like having to deal with the conflict of like she might be the mole, but also she's like maybe one of my only friends, and also there is a romantic potential there. So I really like that. Not as good as episodes 4 and 5, but still a pretty good episode, and I'm excited to see where it kind of goes and what are we boiling up to. I was really surprised in episode 6 of the season to see another knockout drag-out fight between Fisk and Daredevil. I'm like, damn, this feels like something we'd have on reserve towards the end. Are we gonna meet up again? Like, what's going on here? So I like it. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm way more excited week to week than I ever thought I was going to be for this season. So I think that in and of itself is already a massive win. But I am excited to see kind of where we're going, especially with the rumored bringing back of the Defenders for season 3 of the show.
The last 3 episodes of this season have been really good. That's something that I feel like we'd heard from critics that saw it, was that the back half of the season was really strong, and that's proven to be true. I do want more Matthew Lillard in the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
Because I think, if I remember right, it was the CIA that was going after Jessica Jones and not the AVTF at her house.
I thought it was okay.
But
maybe it was.
But just like, why were they going after? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I want to dive into that. I don't like Matthew Lillard too, just being this kind of like little, just fucking like
little worm.
Yeah, a little worm over here, just kind of doing stuff. So very excited to see these next couple episodes. Very briefly. Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. We had episodes 5 and 6 this week. Very cool episodes. We had Marok come in, who is an Inquisitor. He was in Ahsoka. Ahsoka and him fought on a planet. Spoiler alert, she killed him in that episode. But but he's an Inquisitor. I love Inquisitors. I think they're so cool. I like the concept of them so much. Rebels did obviously introduce them, and I just really like these kind of former Jedis or Force users going after Jedi, and he comes to this planet looking for Maul. Not a lot of, like, I guess, deep things to talk about here, but just a lot of really great action scenes throughout these 2 episodes. There's one with the Republic gunships that, I feel like in Attack of the Clones, the first time we saw them, flying through. So cool. I always wanted the Lego set of those gunships, the LAATs, I think they're called. And just kind of flying throughout the city of Janix. There is a great lightsaber fight in an apartment between Marok and let's see if I can remember the fucking Jedis. It's Devin, and then there's an older Jedi, Iko Diodaki, I think. I think that's his name.
Okie
dokie. Fucking something. But he's voiced by the guy, not the when I say Allstate Insurance, not the white guy, the black guy with the deep voice. The Allstate.
Are you in good hands?
Yeah, not the like highest to lowest Allstate guy. Who does the like, hey, how do I get here? Allstate, blah, 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 whatever. Fuck you, dude. He was also in John Wick.
He's not Allstate. Is he Allstate?
Is he Allstate?
He is Allstate.
I think they're both Allstate.
I was confusing Allstate and State Farm.
J.K. Simmons is State? Or no, not J.K. Simmons is Farmers.
American
Farmers Insurance. We are farmers. Yeah. State Farm
Copyright.
State Farm is Jake. State Farm is Jake, but he was white and then he's black now.
Yeah, the original. Yeah.
With Jason Segel in that commercial.
That's not. Is that?
Right?
No.
Am I tripping?
It can't be. Excuse us while we just don't talk about movies and Google.
Hold on, let me Google.
It's not Jason Segel.
Was Jason Segel in
it's not,
State
but
Farm commercial?
1000% no, but it does kind of look like schlubby Jason Segel from.
Yes, it was him.
It was not.
2020. Yeah.
Show me it. Lift up your computer and turn it to me.
I don't know. It said. Well, hold on. This is AI that's saying that. No, it's not Jason Segel. It looked like him.
You gotta show
AI
me
fucking lied. Don't listen to AI, man. That's fucking dumb. He did. Okay, it said he did a promotion, like I think making fun of it or something, and
probably
something
got a lot
later.
of people saying, "Hey, is that Jason Segel?"
It's so dumb. It looked like Jason Segel. Anyways, what the fuck was that? How do we get to Jason Segel State Farm?
Well, State Farm.
Oh, the Jedi fighting. we
with
had
Devin.
with that.
Okie dokie.
Anyways, Iko Diodaki. I think that's his name. Anyways, good apartment lightsaber fight there, and then there's a really cool lightsaber fight on a train that ends episode 6 as Maul kind of comes in and he's maybe helping out the heroes of our series, but has some ulterior motive. So really cool. I'm very excited to see. I think there's 2 more weeks of episodes leading up to May the 4th. So very cool. Love the animation. Love Maul as a character. Like seeing Marok in there. He didn't die in episode 6, or obviously he didn't because he's in Ahsoka, but just happy to see him come back in future episodes.
Iko Diodaki is Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert. Yeah. So, the Allstate guy. Not the white Allstate guy. Not the J.K. Simmons Farmers guy. Not Jason Segel. Not Jason Segel in the State Farm.
Yeah, this guy's got one. You know him. You know his voice. He's got one of the best voices. Yeah. Yeah, he's here.
Allstate.
Oh, you're just gonna do this the rest of the fucking episode? That's the title of the episode. Is Allstate. Maul, Battlelord, and Allstate. That's today's episode.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Maul's cool. Check it out.
Is it an 8? I've asked you this. How many episodes they're doing in this season? Is it 8, 9?
I think it's 10.
Oh, okay,
I guess
so we got 2 more weeks.
So like 7 and 8 next week, and then 9 and 10. I think into the next few weeks. So yeah.
I'm pretty convinced that I will
check
it out. So
yeah, I like it.
I'm somewhat excited for that. Going into the new releases, we do have kind of the kickoff for more of the summer stuff, which is kind of surprising, at least with Devil Wears Prada 2 being the start of May, and coming out May 1st being a movie that's kind of gaining a lot of traction, gaining a lot of momentum. In preparation for this movie, I was going to originally watch Devil Wears Prada this week, and then go see the second one probably Thursday or Friday with my wife. My wife really wanted to watch it tonight, so we watched it tonight before I came over to Corey's, and I'm here to say I still love this fucking movie. It is so just infinitely rewatchable. I really like the cast. Obviously, Meryl Streep is one of the best villains in this movie. Stanley Tucci is so lovable. Anne Hathaway is so likable. It's crazy that a movie in like the early 2000s, they're just calling Anne Hathaway fat the entire time. I'm like, this woman is like stick thin, and they're just, yeah, we usually have like size 0s for assistants, and you're what, a size 6? And she's like, fucking, I'm a size 4? Leave me alone? Like, yeah, you're a little bit rough around the edge. It's like, whoa, how is this okay? Which also this is somewhat dissecting like the fashion world and all that stuff. But I really like that original movie. I watched it so many times as a kid growing up with my mom and stuff like that. I like the cast. It's just, I'm so surprised that I'm now getting so excited for a sequel to this movie so many years past it. Coming from the same director, David Frankel. Obviously, you have all the main cast returning. This is now following Miranda Priestley, who is nearing her retirement, and she reunites with Andy Sachs, played by Anne Hathaway, to face off against her former assistant, turned now rival, Emily Carlton, whatever, played by Emily Blunt. So I'm really excited for that. I will definitely check that out this week. Hokum also is coming out this week, and this is maybe one of the most anticipated for both Corey and I, at least in horror.
On both of our lists, I think, for the
100%. year. Yeah, I had to make a fake poster because there was not a cool poster released for Hokum at that time when we made those reels. But this is directed by Damien McCarthy, who did Oddity with Adam Scott, now starring in this film. And it's a horror writer that visits this Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware that the property is said to be haunted by a witch. The trailers look terrifying. I know little to nothing outside of that synopsis. Honestly, that synopsis gives me the most I know about this movie. I just know that the trailers look good and look scary, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. I'm excited to check that one out this week, and I'm hopefully going to see that one as soon as I possibly can. We also, weirdly enough, have an animated Animal Farm coming from Angel Studios, coming from Andy Serkis, with a voice cast of Seth Rogen, Andy Serkis, Woody Harrelson, Steve Buscemi, Glenn Close, Jim Parsons, Kieran Culkin, amongst others. And it is based on the famed George Orwell book, Animal Farm, which I recently read I think sometime in the last month for the first time. Really enjoyed, really like, wish I read it earlier. This is a adaptation of that, but it seems like it's very much geared more towards children, and it looks like there might be some fart jokes in here where I'm like, what is going on with Animal Farm? But yeah, it's a more childish approach to a imagining of George Orwell's famous novel. So maybe go check that one out. Andy Serkis directing this is the fucking wildest thing I could have ever seen. Like, after Venom Let There Be Carnage, he did Mowgli, and now he's going to do Animal Farm with Seth Rogen. Sick. We also have Deep Water, coming from everyone's favorite director, Rennie Harlin. We love him. Let's list off all of his bangers. You have them here, so might as well. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Everyone loves that. Die Hard 2, not that bad. Cliffhanger, I love. Cutthroat Island, famous mistake. The Long Kiss Goodnight, not bad. Deep Blue Sea, kind of likable. The Exorcist the beginning, you could probably speak on more so than I could, but I'm guessing, knowing Rennie Harlan, not that good. 12 Rounds, okay. Actually, okay, some of these movies are guilty pleasures. 12 Rounds I actually really like. Legend of Hercules, dog shit. And Corey's favorite trilogy of all time, the Strangers trilogy that we most recently just capped off with Strangers Chapter 3. This is starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley in just the most unenthusiastic performances I've ever seen in a trailer in my life. Of Ben Kingsley just monotone, oh no. Of this plane that goes down, and Ben Kingsley and Aaron Eckhart are the pilots, and now they have to deal with sharks with this plane in shark-infested water. Cool, don't care, looks straight to DVD or straight to the Sci-Fi Channel, but nope, we don't really have that because cable's no longer really a thing, so it is straight to theaters for everyone to be sad in theaters together. Don't go see it. And then also, randomly, One Spoon of Chocolate. Actually, this movie looks kind of cool. I'm kind of on board with this. I don't know. I saw the trailer for the first time this week, and I'm like, fucking okay, sure. I got Shameik Moore playing an ex-convict who decides to fight back when he becomes the target of a local gang and the police. Sure, cool. Fine. It looks really grindhousey. It's got Quentin Tarantino's a producer credit on it. Sure. Can't wait to see it. I only didn't say who it was directed by because I didn't know if this is going to show you how white I am. RZA or RZA?
Oh, come on, man.
RZA?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, I thought, all right. He did Man with the Iron Fist, which I thought when I was a kid, and I had that big-ass box TV in the corner of my room, I thought Man with the Iron Fist is going to be the best movie ever made. And I saw it. It's not. Still kind of baller, though. I was hoping to see more tits in it. Didn't.
I'm going to hit you with the Michael Scott. God, you're so white.
Okay. The trailer looks sick, though. I'm actually like, all right, looks kind of grindhousey and little retro. Anyways, whatever. Don't let me talk for too long, because then I ramble on and say dumb shit.
One thing I wanted to give props. This took me longer to find than I thought. The guy in that State Farm commercial in 2011, the original Jake from State Farm commercial that looks like Jason Segel.
Is that what you were doing while I was talking about all of this shit?
Yes,
Thanks.
Justin Campbell.
Justin
is his
Campbell?
name. I wanted to give him his
Is that the guy that you said looked like Jason Segel?
Yeah. Because looking up the original thing, it tells you who the original Jake from State Farm is, but it's a little tougher to find.
He's also a pitcher.
Yeah, also
not the same Justin Campbell.
Not the same
obviously.
Justin Campbell, but anyways, just wanted to give a shout out to him just for my
doing all of his great work.
Yeah, all of his great. I don't know what he's done.
He's now infamous at this point.
2011. That's fucking crazy.
I hope you get paid residuals for ads like that.
100%.
Like, that is such an iconic aspect and a huge part of their ad campaign moving forward, which I feel like they probably didn't know going into it that this was going to just blow up. So I'm like, dude, this dude's got to make bank off it. Like, he's got to be retired and living on an island.
Good for Justin Campbell. That's cool. But anyways, just briefly on the new releases, excited for Devil Wears Prada 2. I'll rewatch the first movie this week. Hokum, can't fucking wait for. Animal Farm, I don't know. I've heard kind of mixed things on it from people.
Bad things.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of bad things, so I don't know about that one.
Which the trailers don't sell it well, especially if it, like, are we doing an actual adaptation of Animal Farm, or are we just, hey, Back at the Barnyard?
Seth Rogen, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I'll maybe watch it eventually, but
watch Back at the Barnyard. Or whatever.
Oh, Barnyard's fucking fantastic.
When the dad cow
singing fucking won't back down.
I thought I was gonna go to war for him. I was like, dude. I would have annihilated in Vietnam. I'm like, Jesus, that dude's I won't back down. The amount of
that
times
scene shaped every child that watched that.
The amount of times I'll be in the shower and Tism will just spark and I'll think that song. I'm like, what is that fucking from? And then I'll get the clip randomly on reels of the
Sam
cow
Elliott
on
singing.
a stump. Then he immediately dies. That was fucking heartbreaking. That was more heartbreaking to me than Lion King. Every time.
All right, let's not get crazy.
I'm not gonna say that
Let's not get crazy. Here.
I'm not gonna say that Lion King is obviously as good as Barnyard.
Nobody's ever said that
because Barnyard's amazing.
It is good. Barnyard's fucking sweet. Wild Mike.
Cow farm. We're coming to cow farm.
Big fucking pig that just blows up. Whatever. Watch Barnyard, I guess.
I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
What I did want to say about Deep Water, directed by Rennie Harlan, is that he directed Deep Blue Sea. He knows how to make a schlocky, fun shark movie.
Yeah, okay.
That's what he should be doing instead of a Strangers trilogy.
It's weird to see Ben Kingsley in a movie like this. I wish Aaron Eckhart would get out of this type of film and make good movies again.
I need him to stop doing Walmart DVD movies, man.
This is
He's good. He's good in Aaron Brockovich and The Dark Knight, and he's good in a lot of stuff.
Have you seen Thank You for Smoking?
I haven't.
You would love it.
Okay.
I kind of want cigarettes.
I always want cigarettes.
I think for Aiden's bachelor party, I'm going to bring
we should.
Yeah, a couple packs of
That'd be good.
cigs.
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. A little hot snack outside. Anyways, yeah, 1 spoon of chocolate. I don't know. Yeah, fucking RZA, man. Fucking white.
I was trying to toe tap around it. I'm like, I need to at least acknowledge him, and then I can't
The
acknowledge
artist
him
known by the initials
RZA.
It's part of the Wu-Tang Clan, man. Come on.
NWA.
So white.
I'm not going to say that because I can't.
Fucking Wu-Tang, baby.
Look at me.
Anyways, okay, so with this upcoming slate of movies for the beginning of May, even though it may not signal the start of summer for most people, it is the start of summer movie season. Goes from May till about Labor Day. We're kind of doing it till like the end of August.
Yeah.
So every year for the past maybe 2 or 3 years, we've done our top 10 summer movie predictions. And just a couple rules. We do this fun little game, kind of like our Oscar predictions too.
A fun little game.
Fun little game we do. We'll decide if the loser has to buy a movie or watch a movie that they hate. Like I still have to watch Nora for losing the Oscar ballot. Maybe we'll buy Blu-ray for each other. Whatever it has to be.
Strangers Chapter 3.
I have to buy it or watch it?
I'm buying it for you.
Oh.
Actually, like that might be nice for you though, because then you can have it, but you didn't have to spend money on it.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm not gonna like it.
Do you have Strangers Chapter 2?
No, I don't have any of them. I don't have the original one.
You the third one.
Fuck. Anyways, we'll figure out the reward maybe in August, end of August, a few months from now.
Or in fall when we fucking tie and have to go into like the rest of the year like last year.
There's that. So what we did is predict what we think will be the top 10 highest grossing movies of the summer domestically. Domestically is a little bit easier to figure out than worldwide. There's a lot of different release dates for worldwide. Sometimes movies release later in the fall for some countries, so domestically,
a
little more clean cut for domestically here. And we'll pick our top 10, and then we'll pick 3 honorable mentions. And the way that we'll kind of grade our points here is that if we get a movie in the top 10, we will get a point. And if we get the movie in the right spot in the top 10, we will get an additional point. Yeah. So, like last year, Lilo and Stitch was the top movie of the summer. If you picked it on your list and picked it at number 1, you get 2 points. Yeah. So, that's how we're doing it here. I believe you won last summer.
I have not lost a bet to you since we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, all right, fuck you. You don't need to bring that up. This year is going to change.
Actually, no, this has been the hardest one to do. Because last year, like, there are some clear, obvious, like, I feel like you can pick the top 8 and, like, they'll be on the list. It's just getting them in the right order. Then you have, like, 2 weird ones to fill. This is a really stacked summer, so it's hard trying to be like, all right, comparing apples and oranges of, like, Minions or Mandalorian and Grogu. Mm-hmm. Or fucking Spider-Man Brand New Day and Masters of the Universe. It's just wild, different genre takes. So it's just like, I don't know.
It's very tough.
Devil Wars Product 2, maybe. I don't know.
It's exciting that there's a lot of movies that people are excited about.
Diverse.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to go through, give our honorable mentions first, then we'll go through our top 10s, and then we will continue to track it throughout the summer. We'll probably not too many updates until like the end of August, really, when things are kind of shaping up, and we'll see. And we'll do who wins at the end of the summer. So Mason, start off with your 3 honorable mentions. Give me from 13 to 11.
All right, my 3 honorable mentions. 13. This is more just like a hope. I don't think it will. And I had nothing to go off of because the first one came out during COVID. But Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay.
I hope to God it's number 13. Scary Movie 6 at 12. Feels like it could be low. And 11, I have Obsession. I'm hoping that we can have like a little bit of like a horror kick or like a mass appealing horror movie this summer.
Okay. Well, for my 13 through 11, I match with you on 2 of them, just in different places. At number 13, I put Evil Dead Burn. Evil Dead Rise was like a decently profitable movie, and I just think that we'll talk about the teaser in a bit, which I think was pretty effective. Horror movies in the summer, there's always some that pop through. I'll talk about another one in my top 10, but I'm just like, rated R horror movies, I think there's a spot for them. Obsession was certainly one that I thought about too, but Evil Dead Burn I put at 13. I put Mortal Kombat 2 at number 12.
Okay.
I think this one, the video game fans are very excited about, looking like the tournament, looking like what we want from Mortal Kombat. Comes out in a couple weeks here, so I think that could do pretty well. And then I do have Scary Movie at 11. Okay. I think that there is a market for bringing this franchise back, and especially with all the new horror icons of the Megan and the Terrifier and all that kind of stuff. I think there's a fun little market there. So that's my honorable mentions there. I want you to give me your 10 through 1 here, and then I'll go through my 10 through 1.
All right. I hate going first. 10 Masters of the Universe. Literally a wild card for me. I have no idea where this is going to fall. If this movie made no money, wouldn't be a surprise. If this movie made a lot of money, I would be a little surprised. I'm expecting it to make worldwide probably in like the 280 to 400 range. I'm hoping it makes that. Domestically, I have no fucking idea what this is going to take in. I'm not going to spend that much time on all of these. 9, Disclosure Day. No idea what Steven Spielberg. It's a sci-fi film. 8, Devil Wears Prada 2. 7, Supergirl. 6, The Mandalorian and Grogu. 5, The Odyssey. 4, Minions and Monsters. Why? I don't know, but it probably will be that or higher. 3, Moana. 2, Toy Story 5. 1, Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Okay, I'm happy that we had a lot of matchup in the middle section there.
Okay.
But towards the end, we differed a little bit. Okay. So, okay. To speak of Masters of the Universe, that was my next one in my honorable mentions.
You bumped it out of?
For Evil Dead Burn, yeah. At number 10, this is kind of a risk, but every summer there's always a movie or a couple like R-rated movies that sneak in there. I put Backrooms.
See, okay, I was between that and Passengers for being in my honorable mentions, and then I decided Obsession of the trailers we've gotten. I'm like, that feels more massive.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Backrooms, just from people that like I didn't know were excited about movies that are like, I can't fucking wait to see Backrooms. I don't know. I have a feeling that like last summer we had Weapons and Final Destination Bloodlines as like R-rated horror movies. Year before we had, or a couple years ago we had like Sound of Freedom, just like movies that kind of snuck in there that are just like very interesting movies. So I'm like taking a chance on Backrooms at number 10. Number 9, I have The Devil Wears Prada 2. Okay. Number 8, Disclosure Day, which I think you flip-flop those. And then I think this is where we went on a run of the same movies. I had Supergirl at 7, Mandalorian and Grogu at 6.
That was such a hard choice of which one's going to make more out of those two, Mandalorian or Supergirl.
It's crazy that like if a Star Wars movie is not in my top 5, if you would have told me that like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But number 5, I had The Odyssey. 4, Minions and Monsters. 3, Moana. That was an interesting little thing. I was like, does The Odyssey make more than Minions and Monsters? Which I think it could. I really do think that there's a chance that movie does well, because like the Minions are fucking popular, Despicable Me is popular, but I think The Odyssey has so much fucking hype.
Yeah.
But
if Oppenheimer can scratch near Billy, then Odyssey I feel like could do roughly the same.
Yeah, 100%. So but we flipped our 1 and 2. I had Spider-Man Brand New Day at number 2 and Toy Story 5 at number 1. So
I think that is crazy.
Spider-Man is a box office draw no matter what. Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter what it is. But Pixar, animated sequels, you saw it with Inside Out 2, made more money than Deadpool and Wolverine in 2024. So I kind of used that a little bit. I think there's still a lot of love for Toy Story 5, and people love these characters. I think it will be really close. I wouldn't be surprised if you got this one right and you got your top 7 all correctly there. But I just think animated movies during the summer, or like family movies, I guess, with Lilo and Stitch last year that we saw, kind of have a slight edge maybe. But it's exciting that we have the top 2. I was really worried when you kept going on this run. I'm like, fuck, it's going to be the same. But, so there it is. There's our top 10 and a few honorable mentions.
I think you're going to owe me something after this.
I mean, last year I picked How to Train Your Dragon to be number 1, and it was like number 5 or 4 or something.
That movie underperformed, kind of surprisingly.
It's good, but not compared to everything else.
Brand New Day is a sequel to the 4th highest grossing film of all time at the domestic box office. So I'm like, if Toy Story 5 is up there, fine, cool, great for that, but I'm just like, that was like the only one I'm like, I know where my starting point is. Okay. And now it's just fucking ordering the rest of them.
Even though I'm pumped about the MCU, like Marvel fatigue in the past few years, that played into it a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. It'll be fun to track this and see. They're both going to make a fuck ton of money for Disney and Sony.
Yeah, so. Regardless, our top 3 are all Disney projects. Spider-Man, Toy Story, Moana.
Exactly.
If Moana made zilch, so happy.
Would love it.
I would be so thrilled if that movie made no money. As a massive fan of that first animated film, I still haven't seen Moana 2. But, yeah. I'm really excited. This is a weird summer because we have a lot of different types of genre takes, and Backrooms I think is a really good pick too. So
there's always a weird one that sneaks in there. So I'm like, because you had Masters of the Universe, that was our one different. Mm-hmm. So wow, 9 of them are the same.
So if one of us is getting a point, we're both getting a point, and for a lot of these, we're both going to get 2 if we're in the spot. Same spot.
And then it's really just the top 2, and then our kind of number. What was Masters for you? Masters of the Universe. So our number 10, and then the 1 and 2 is really the difference makers. So
it's gonna be a lot easier to figure out who won this year than it was last year. I feel
it will be. Yeah. It'll be fun. We'll keep track of it throughout the summer.
Yeah. Moving into a little bit of a physical media roundup. Again, I bought more movies. I say every week that I won't. Didn't buy this movie this week, but I finally got it this week, and it's the Steelbook, the 4K Blu-ray of Bone Temple. I had to order this from Zavvi US to make sure I can get a region-free copy of both the 4K and the Blu-ray. It's a sweet Steelbook. It's still my favorite film of the year. It's awesome artwork. I love this movie. Happy to add this to my collection. And then I went on a tear. Now that it's starting to warm up and we're getting into the summer season, weird movies that I really always associate with being summer movies are the Fast and the Furious movies. And I think that there is a trilogy of awesome movies in that long-running franchise, and it's 5, 6, and 7. Fast 5 is the first fantastic Fast and the Furious movie I ever saw. Saw it in the theaters, loved it. Fast and Furious 6, love. Furious 7, love. Don't know why they can't just keep a consistent naming pattern, but I bought all of those.
I like it.
Those 3. What is Flevin? What are we going to get? Like,
isn't it Fast Forever? Isn't that what they call it?
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Fate of the Furious is awesome.
That's
a great title.
Baller. But bought all those 3 on 4K and Blu-ray. Also ordered a 4K Blu-ray Steelbook of Ender's Game randomly, because I really liked that movie when I saw it when I was 13. So why not add that shit to my collection? I also ordered a Steelbook for the... didn't put it on our notes, forgot about it. 4K Blu-ray of Rudy. That was my dad's favorite movie, and I haven't watched that movie in a while. So I want to
Rudy's
that one.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. NFL,
speaking of sports movies,
Yeah, NFL draft time, perfect football watch. I love Rudy. Coming out this week, we have a couple new releases. Cold Storage from earlier this year, and then Highest to Lowest coming out on the A24 release. And then there's a few older 4Ks, Inner Space, Boxcar Bertha, which is one of Scorsese's earlier movies.
Shit, yeah.
Throw Mama from the Train,
Danny
Danny DeVito, and I forget who else is in that, but and then Soldier on 4K coming out.
Is Soldier the Kurt Russell?
Yes.
That's that's supposed to be like somewhat of a sequel to Blade Runner. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard the theories about that. Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it. Maybe
I
someday.
love Kurt Russell. You know what fucking awesome ass Kurt Russell movie that no one talks about? Blown Away. I haven't
seen it.
That. Oh, brother.
Okay.
Check it out. That movie scared me
Mm-hmm.
We watched it. It's about bombing and shit like that, and like this guy is just setting up bombs all across. It's Tommy Lee Jones. It's him. He's a bad guy. And I was terrified of bombs as a kid. I was like, "There's bombs everywhere. I'm gonna blow up."
Wow.
And then, I was gonna make a really bad joke. So let's just skirt past that. Into the movie news.
I can see your brain being like, "Do I say this?
Shouldn't say that.
Say it? No,
shouldn't say that."
Moving into movie news, we had quite a few trailers this week. We had one for Hokum coming out this week, obviously, and then Super Troopers 3, Practical Magic 2, Coyote vs. Acme, the long talked about, canceled by Warner Brothers, picked up by Ketchup Entertainment, I believe it is, coming out in August. The Death of Robin Hood, Michael Sarnowski's new movie. The 2 that I want to talk about the most is Evil Dead Burn. You talked about seeing a teaser of it before
Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Before The Mummy. I didn't see that in theaters, so seeing it this week was really cool. It's just kind of a 30 to 40 second clip of like somebody crawling through a house, shit's happening in the background, police sirens going off in the background, and I like the Evil Dead franchise. Yeah. It's really fun, and I like just having these different takes on it. I'm excited to see what this movie brings. But the biggest trailer from this week was Clayface. We talked about it in the CinemaCon updates from last week. This, I believe, is the trailer that was shown at CinemaCon, if not like a very close one.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. And this is a movie that I have been a little skeptical on, but hearing that Mike Flanagan was involved as a producer, I'm like, cool. James Watkins as a director, I'm down with that. And then seeing the visuals of this very much reminded me of... when I saw the trailer for Joker the first time. When I was like, do we need a Batman Rogues Gallery villain spin-off movie? I don't think so. And then I saw the trailer, I'm like, that actually might work. And I think the character of Clayface, as funny as it is of like playing him in the Lego video games and using that character,
look at the thumbnail.
It's the kind of psyche behind that character, I think, works really well. And the visuals of this trailer of just him in the hospital bed with his eyes poking through. And obviously, terrifying. I mean, one of the most like striking visual images I've seen in a long time is him in the bathtub at the end of this trailer, just wiping down his face, and it's just smudgy clay. It's such a striking image. Yeah. I'm so excited for this movie.
Yeah, this was easily... I like the Evil Dead Burn trailer, but this Clayface trailer is easily my favorite thing I saw all week, movie-related or any-wise. Awesome trailer, terrifying. Reminded me of, like, Crimes of the Future, which I watched that movie, blitzed off my fucking balls, and I had to go to bed at, like, 6:30 p.m., so I was terrified. So, I can't wait for this movie. I was always interested just because of Mike Flanagan's kind of attachment to it, and now seeing this trailer, and the way it opens, I was already, like, I'm terrified right now. We haven't even gotten into the brunt of this, so I can't fucking wait. Easily my most anticipated DC project, or just DC Studios project that's announced right now, so I can't wait to see Clayface.
Very excited. I mean, I'm excited for Supergirl. We just talked about that in our summer predictions, but to see both Lanterns and then Clayface kind of non-James Gunn feeling projects, whether they're directed or written by him, and then Supergirl kind of feels Guardians-esque.
And more grounded within the already established kind of more, not campy, but just more bright, positive, cosmic DC that's been established with Superman.
Very excited to see that. Speaking of more DC things that are very grounded, the Batman 2... Talked about it a bit with CinemaCon things last week. Charles Dance has joined the cast. Sounds like he's going to play the father of Harvey Dent, who Sebastian Stan is probably playing in the movie. He was added to the cast. It's obviously coming out next October, but Charles Dance, I mean, Tywin Lannister is one of the most, just, I don't know, not insane, but just one of the most striking figures in Game of Thrones, and I love him so much. So I think he's a really great casting choice for this role. Into a bunch of other just kind of movie announcements or release date changes. We have our Alex Garland writing and directing an Elden Ring movie based on the fantasy video game. I haven't played the game, but I've heard people like it a lot. Really good cast with Kit Connor, Ben Whishaw, Kaylee Spaney, who is my current celebrity crush, who I'm just like, Kaylee Spaney, I want you in everything. You're fucking great. Nick Offerman's also in the movie. An interesting note, I Am Legend 2 is coming out with Stephen Caple Jr., who did Creed 2 and Transformers Rise of the Beasts. He's going to be directing the movie, and the interesting thing is that the sequel is going to consider the original ending of the movie as canonical. So
Which was the alternate ending when you watched, or on the Blu-ray or the DVD. Yeah.
The original I Am Legend ended with Will Smith's character dying in the movie. This one is going to take the alternate ending where he lives at the end of that movie, carry that on. Very curious to see what that is, because I think that alternate ending is one of the more infamous ones in recent years, where it's like, people like that one a lot. I like the director, I like the project, I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. You talked about Obsession a little bit ago. Curry Barker's directing that movie. He's also going to be directing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie for A24. This is going to be separate from the TV series that they're developing. As a person that just watched through all of the Texas Chainsaw movies this past October, I'm curious to see what he brings to that. I'm very curious to see Obsession and then see how that translates to a Texas Chainsaw movie. We also had Hard Eyes 2 is going to be coming out in February of 2028.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen the original, but I know you really like it. And I know the director replied to one of our stories or something.
He did, and I really appreciated that. I think it was maybe just my review of it. He responded. My wife commented on our reviews because she was like, I'll help you guys get some traction going. I'm like, thanks, very sweet of you. And then he commented on her comment, and she gushed about it for like a week, which like I also did too, because it was Josh Rubin and we both really like him. We love that first Hard Eyes movie. I didn't need a sequel, but I'm excited to see it. Why not?
Feels like a fun killer to bring back, and I think they parody that in Scary Movie.
Scary Movie 6?
So
I can't wait to see Scary Movie 6, fun. Weirdly enough. Like I think by waiting so long and taking that time off, which I don't think was necessarily planned, having such a hiatus, I think it's only going to do, like, it's going to do the movie a service. And probably help its box office.
Give him more material to work with, too. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. We had a Battlefield movie announced, another video game, which I actually remember playing Battlefield like 3 or 4 and loving that fucking game.
4, yeah.
Playing that with my brothers back in the day. Christopher McQuarrie directing that movie, Michael B. Jordan starring in it. I'm down for that combo. Just like, even if it's just like a war movie, cool. Fucking sure, why not?
I kind of like, same with the Call of Duty. I'm like, what are you gonna do that makes it feel like Call of Duty or makes it feel like Battlefield, aside from it just being a war movie? Which I don't know. Not that I'm not gonna go see it. I will probably go check it out. I'm just like, what's gonna be like the stamp? Why is this Call of Duty? Why is this Battlefield? But I'm excited. That's a great team
for sure. And then the last couple things is Universal announced a couple of release date changes. Speaking of, The Mummy, we talked about a lot last week. This moved up a year to May 19th, or excuse me, it moved up to October 15th of 2027. It was previously going to come out on May 19th, 2028. This is Radio Silence directing the revival of The Mummy with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, bringing in kind of The Mummy 4. See how they correct the Maria Bello thing from Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, how they address that. I don't know. We'll see.
In a year and a half, we'll know.
Probably be a fun little mention. The movie that it was originally going to come out on May 19th, and the movie that it kind of got swapped with was Miami Vice. We've talked about it a little bit with, again, Michael B. Jordan, Alston Butler, officially titled Miami Vice 85, Joseph Kosinski coming in to direct. So that movie got moved from August of next year to that May 19th slot of 2028. With recent Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan and Joseph Kosinski, whose last couple of movies have been nominated for Best Picture. So it'll be fun. A couple just release date changes for them.
I can't wait. And I like that they're within the title also establishing this is going to be in the 80s.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
Cool.
Great. That's what it needs to be.
Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. So
yeah.
I can't wait to see that. It's been a pretty good week for movie news, and all this stuff is somewhat exciting. So pretty good week and good way to jump into now summer movie season with Devil Wears Prada 2 and Hokum coming out this week. But that will do it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. In film, it's not just about what's on screen. It's also about who's next to you in the theater.
For Mason and Slate Night, that's a wrap.